So I have a question for each of these artists. I'm going to ask the question and they're going to answer. Maybe let's grab that other mic. All right, wonderful. So my first question is for Venida. Venida, you're a celebrity here, so everyone knows, but you are an incredibly accomplished Black woman. You are a performer, leader, pastor, professor, right? The list goes on. You've all seen the bios on this little slideshow cycling throughout. And it still amazes me that you find these people in your piece who look at you the way that they looked at you in that story. So I wonder what advice you have for other Black femmes, a lot of folks in this room who are still establishing themselves and they're also facing this prejudice.
Well, first off, set goals and pursue them. Even if you experience discrimination, I would say think about your community and the support that you have from the people that you're connected to. I wouldn't be where I am without my family and without my community supporting me along the way. Certainly not giving up, as a Black woman. Yeah, thanks, Ben. As a Black woman, I shared just, a drop in the bucket as it relates to systemic racism and the number of things that I experience, but we know that it's systemic. I'm one person. So I think it is important for us to think about how we can continue to disrupt oppressive systems and still push forward with the dreams and visions that we have for our lives and for the lives of our families and communities. So that's the advice. Just keep pushing, keep going. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Venida. So many young people are so lucky to be inspired by you every day at this school and every other school that you teach at. So Jackie, I love the honesty and the introspection that you were able to find in this letter to your father. And you talk about therapy, you talk about sitting in the sun, you talk about healing, and I'm wondering how writing has helped you make those personal discoveries and has helped heal you.
Yeah, thank you. So I think I see that poem as it's like therapy itself, probably, and just putting me in a space to really reflect about the things that do make me feel really good, and still being honest about things that don't feel good often. So I think it's a space for me to allow myself to feel many things at once, and to not stay in one space, and of course to push myself to be in spaces and have experiences that are very healing to me, and with the support and the love that I have around me. So, yeah.
So my next question, I am so excited to have Ameerah and Elliott. So this is like a group question, because you guys chose to do a group project. You gotta get a group grade, okay? So first of all, Ameerah, thank you for bringing Elliott into this circle, and Elliott, thank you for being here, AKA Pome, P-O-M-E. So we know that Black Lives Matter and all the other activism, right, highlighting racist police and civilian violence against Black folks, it's always been relevant since Africans were first kidnapped and enslaved in the Americas. But it's interesting because I feel like BLM specifically has been in the spotlight less lately. We have seen, forgive me, it's Ryan, what's the name of the young man with autism who was recently murdered? Ryan Gaynor? Is anyone looking at me? Well, he is the most recent person that I can think of whose life was taken due to violence. But I do see that people are shifting their attention to other causes right now. But I'm wondering, do you think it's because we're looking at international issues? Do you think we have been able to create change? How can we continue to push forward and protect Black men, Black sons, but also Black women, Black folks of all genders and ages? Sorry, that's a deep question. I'm putting so much pressure on these two people.
I think people are exhausted. You know, I mean, how many times could we talk about the same issues and then pour all our anger into a singular issue, you know, posting and rallying and take a little break, and then another issue. We had the Mississippi situation with the Goon Squad. They were just sentenced, but he easily could have been killed. He survived, but you just get exhausted. You know, life is hard enough, just getting up every day, going to work, trying to support, without having to constantly have to address things that, you know, issues surrounding humanity that we should not have to address in 2024 America. You know, you get tired. I know I've been tired. I'm tired of writing about the stuff. I'm trying to actually write about trees and rainbows and sunflowers and change the tenor of my work, you know, because life isn't just about these things. Life is a beautiful thing too, but we have to find middle ground. I teach children. When people ask, you know, well, what are you doing about this besides, you know, going out and, you know, ranting and raving, you know, you say, hey, pour back into the communities you come from and teach kids better than what you were taught. And teach them how to be prepared when these things are in their face. Teach them how to save their money. Teach them how to respect each other. I don't think you can stop what's in somebody's heart or what they've been taught when they were young, which is all it is, you know, from Klansmen to skinheads to whoever. They were taught, you know, that this is what they need to be feeling about people who are not like them. So you can't control that, but you can control how you react. You can control how you prepare your children. And you can keep pressing forward and then hope. A lot of this stuff has to do with hope and luck and having, you know, a spiritual balance that allows you to deal with it and try to remedy it that way, you know. But controlling what's in somebody else's heart will only make you tired. And I think we're all tired across all racial lines of talking about these same things.
Well, see, I'm a little different. I'm a Black woman, educator, mother of sons. That poem was so real for me. I'm also a teacher, so I have hundreds of children. And in the poetry community, I'm most often the oldest woman performing within the circles, not this circle of IFC, because we kind of range from varied background and age groups, but the circle that I normally exist within. And so I found that even those poets, those creatives, have become my extended family, my children. Elliott is not my son, but he is my son. And so he wants to, or he stated that he would rather talk about flowers. I can't talk about a tree without talking about the root. So every single poem that you see coming from me comes from an emotional place, a spiritual place that I connect to outside of this body. It's usually Black or brown, and that's just what it is. And one of my friends, one of my poet friends, she always says, or she starts a poem with, who's got time for love poems? I don't have time for love poems, because the only way that we can force change is by talking about it. The weapon of the poet is her voice, his voice, our words, and the minute that we're quiet, then that's the end.
Thank you. So Megha, my body is not an apology. It's incredible because I think this piece resonates with every femme and woman. And of course, people of other genders also feel unrealistic body standards. But I would love to hear about your work just outside of that, because you have all these books that are happening. And My Body is Not an Apology was the chapbook, correct? And the book, tell us about that one.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank IFC and the Speicher-Rubin Center and NJCU for giving us the space to all of us. And it's an honor and pleasure to share this space with such brilliant writers and brilliant poets in our community, and especially when we are celebrating the International Women's Day, and also today it's the World's Poetry Day. So it's the perfect amalgamation of what poetry can stand for. So yeah, the poem, My Body is Not an Apology, to be very honest, when I wrote it, and it was initially the part of my chapbook, I wrote it from a perspective of women, that how women have to apologize for their body, their choices, and they have to explain again and again how they have to hide their spider veins and crow's feet, and how they have to fit in the cookie cutter role of a society. But through the years, when I kept on performing this poem, there were people who used to come to me after the performance and say it resonated with them. And then I realized that the scope and the reach of the poem is far more than I have imagined. So any of us, any of one with the body and a soul has never to be apologized for, like our body choices. So that's how the poem has evolved itself. And it's part of my full-length collection, which is called My Body Lives Like a Thread. And that poetry collection, it's basically a collection of 50 poems, and it was published in year 2022 by Flower Song Press. And the collection basically talks about how the issue of body identity and body politics, it never remains at an individual level. It molds and morphs into a social monster, birthing problems like gender and sexual-based discrimination, and all sorts of human rights violation and immigrations and migrant issue. So how the body of a woman is seen as a threat, the body of a person of color is seen as a threat, the body of a migrant worker, the body of a refugee. So how the body is so central, it lies at the intersection of all this issue and still remains invisible, and it's still perceived as a threat. So that's how I came up with the title. And we have to, as our, my fellow writers and poets, we feel that, and as Ameerah said, that this is a weapon, right? A poetry is a potent weapon, and because it stimulates empathy, and empathy is necessary for the socioeconomic change, because that's how we relate to people. Not everything is going to happen to us, but we have to empathize with the issues the others are going. We have to empathize and also stand for them. Thank you so much.
I love that. Thank you. Rescue. I'm so glad that we got to end cap this program with notes of revolution, and it's cool that you brought in a fairly new piece that you co-wrote with Tony, who can't be here with us today, but I'm sure you all have seen in the slideshow. Can you tell us a bit about your shared inspiration for this poem, and share with us how can we take our shared inspirations and create revolution?
Oh, I love that question. So Tony and I, Tony's in California, and we happened to meet through Facebook. The world just does things differently nowadays, right? So that was part of a revolution right there. Meeting someone and connecting with someone that if it hadn't been for virtual events, if it hadn't been for social media, I would have never met this person. So that creates its own type of revolution, where you can connect all over the world at the same time. We have conversations because he's so far away, and some of our conversations just start as just sharing a cup of coffee in the morning, and then going in and diving in and talking about anything and everything, no holds barred. There's no judgment during our cafecito time, okay? So some of those conversations can be 5 minutes, some of them can be an hour long. And the inspiration came from something he said, and I was like, that needs to be put in a poem. So from there, we created the poem. I just put on my revolutionary jacket. And it's something we can all relate to because we all have it underneath life's other jackets, right? We have that revolution burning in ourselves, in our hearts, at different times in our lives, and it looks different for everyone. So that shared inspiration where we can connect on so many levels here, and that you're here giving us inspiration to keep performing and to keep writing is the revolution. And it's a revolution that will never die.
Wait, say what you just said, Venida. That's funny.
I said, well said, poet laureate of Jersey City.
Yes, if you didn't know, a former poet laureate of Jersey City is RescuePoetix. All right, Kai, how you doing? So you're our first artist to speak about asexuality. I was really excited when I saw your monologue because I thought it was something that a lot of people needed to talk about. So I'm wondering if you had any advice for folks who think they might be on this asexual, or aromantic spectrum.
I would also like advice. Well, online you might see the term asexual being grouped with other synonyms like undesirable or unlovable or broken. That is absolutely not true. It's a identity and community to be very proud of, full of love and support, and you are not alone no matter what rules people try to put on you or try to shame you or think that you're a joke. You are valid. You are worthy of love, no matter what anyone says. There are many types of love, from friends, family, to platonic love, to chosen family, and love for yourself and love for your dreams. And nothing can stop you from living your own life as beautifully and colorfully as you want. And if someone still can't understand that sex is not everything, that is their problem, not yours.
Thank you, Kai. So Nancy, you have been gracing our stages since 2016. You've been in full color 3 times, part of this all-star cast. I've seen you explore so much of your life story, from your childhood in the New York City projects to escaping corporate America to loving and losing family. And I wonder how your life has shaped your writing, and how has your writing shaped your living?
Well, we could be here a while. But I guess in terms of how my life has shaped my writing, you know, my life is my material, you know? I always joke that I never run out of things to write about. I'm just worried that I'll write out of time to write about all the things. And also, growing up, I was very solitary, and I existed very much in the margins. And when I was growing up, that always bothered me quite a bit, because I always felt excluded, and I never felt included. But now I realize that that shaped my perspective as a writer, because being invisible kind of gives you this extra special vision, because people sometimes will act in ways that maybe they wouldn't act if they realized that you were there. So I think that that's part of what shaped my sensibility as an artist, and how my writing has shaped my life. I think that writing is where I feel most myself, and in being vulnerable and open, I've found that has allowed me to connect with people, because a lot of times people will say to me afterwards, wow, I really felt that, and I feel the same way. So all of that community and all of that exclusion that I felt as a child, I feel like now I'm clued into something so much bigger than I ever anticipated. And I really appreciate that. And to Jackie's point, I feel like the writing also helps me process life a lot. So my hope is that as a writer, as an artist, I'm able to maybe think about things a little bit more, and be more open, and be more compassionate, and be a better human.
Thank you to everyone for bringing such inspiring words. So to close our program, I always like to end in full color events by manifesting positive change. So I like to close with a wish. And this is such a special time because it's 50th birthday for the Women's Center. It's Women's History Month. It's World Poetry Day. I think it's the perfect time to put some wish magic out there, right? And if you're in the audience and you have a wish for women today, you could just hold it in your hearts right now, and you'll let it go with us. I'm gonna have y'all say your wish if you'd like to share it, and you could pass the mic on back to me as you do that. Nancy, what is your wish today?
Seize opportunity.
Love.
Abundance and prosperity.
Empathy and compassion.
For women to be okay in their own house.
An eternal sense of fulfillment.
Joy.
Use your voice.
Create something. Thank you so much, everyone, for spending an evening with us. And thank you to the NJCU School of Business, to Venida and the Speicher-Rubin Center. Thank you to all of the folks who have worked so hard to put this together. And please give another round of applause for our incredible artists. Come on, guys, let's take a bow, take a bow. Thank you so much. If you loved this, please run by our tables in these last couple of moments, grab the social medias. We're in Full Color US on Instagram and fullcolor.org. How can we follow you?
NJCU Women CTR.
There we go. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night.